So a lot of you have messaged me and talked about the Fox News segments and asked me how that all came about. I tried very hard about a month ago to not bring on this channel the situation that I was dealing with. We live downtown Portland. We're in one of the rougher neighborhoods, and we just had some issues with a neighbor who was facilitating having homeless people just right outside our door. Guys, it was very difficult for me. We're still dealing with a lot of it. It has gotten better, but I made a video that went viral on another site. This was on Instagram, it was on TikTok. Got 200 300,000 views, and it was picked up by Fox News. So they reached out and asked if I would come on to the show to kind of talk about the situation of that original video. And then from that led to them reaching out the next week and just asking me about some of the things that are going on here in Portland, specifically the homeless issue, and how our local government is looking to pay out $1,000 per homeless person if you're under a certain amount of money, and something that I'm not really a fan of. But I bring all that up to say that we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility not just to the security community, but we have a responsibility to our families. We have a responsibility to make sure that we're speaking up about things, that we're talking about things in our community, things that are affecting our families. I think that too much so right now, people, they just don't want to be involved. They don't want to get involved. No one wants to be the loud person that's talking about things and having people potentially be vindictive. Here in Portland, it's a big issue of anyone that speaks out, says anything against kind of the narrative. You can end up in a situation where people are vandalizing your house, or trying to assault your family or assault you. So most people that are here, most good people, they're doing one of two things. They're either just putting their heads down and trying to not say anything and just go along to get along, or they're leaving. And unfortunately, if you don't have the option to leave, I recently bought a house last year. If you don't have the option to just pull up and leave and you have to live here, that doesn't work for everybody. It definitely doesn't work for me. So, it's a bad situation, but it did lead to some good things. It led to me being on national television. It's created an inroad for me to be able to reach out to Fox News, potentially be on there for other things. And who knows, maybe this will parlay itself into something else. Maybe I'll have a political career down the road, which is not necessarily what I want. But what I do want is to have an avenue to voice my opinion. That was the whole intention of starting this YouTube channel, to voice my opinion on security related issues. And I feel like I need to take that and broaden it and talk about other things, because everything's intertwined. Guys, the issues here in Portland involving crime, the issues involving drugs, the issues involving homelessness, all of that, it's intertwined with security. It's intertwined with what I do in my profession every single day. And I know that some people, when I put the Fox News segments up, or I talk about certain other things, people will say, listen, I come to your channel for security related content. I don't come here to hear your opinion about this. I don't come here to get your opinion about that. I'm here for security related content. That is security related content, guys. The same people that are parked outside my house, the same people that are potentially going to break into my home, break into my neighbor's home, potentially accost my family or assault me, those are the same exact people that I deal with right down the street every single day, right? I am the person to talk about that from a community perspective, because I deal with that demographic every single day. Our lives, although they're compartmentalized, right? They are compartmentalized. Everything is fluid and everything bleeds into the next thing. Specifically, so if you have not heard, stores are leaving Portland. That's right. Listen, over the past year and a half, we have seen multiple Starbucks pull out of the Portland area, which is crazy because Starbucks is based right out of Seattle, 2 hours up the road. But as I drink my coffee here, during the riots, The Antifa protesters made it a point to specifically attack Starbucks. They would break the windows out of all of the downtown Starbucks, and they would, vandalize the businesses. And I actually spoke to an activist and I asked him, I said, why do you guys continually break the windows out of Starbucks? Like, what purpose does that serve in terms of addressing the ills that maybe befall my people, right? My black community. And he says, we can't attack white supremacy. We can't attack systemic racism, but what we can do is we can attack capitalism. And if we attack capitalism long enough and over a long enough timeline, it forces people to put pressure on politicians. It forces people to put pressure on politicians to change laws, to change policies, to change the way that police do their job. And I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm giving you this guy's opinion. But that led to Starbucks pulling out a lot of their locations in downtown. And now what we're starting to see over the last year and a half, more and more businesses pulling out of Portland. My question to you, and it's a rhetorical question because I know the answer, is this a result of the hands-off policy? Now, when I say hands-off policy to a security guard, we're all thinking about the post orders that were given that say, only engage or only get involved or only go hands-on in a situation where it's life or death or immediate danger, right? But they've taken that idea in Portland and they've spread it across every aspect of life, right? They have a hands-off policy when it comes to drugs. They have a hands-off policy when it comes to homelessness. They have a hands-off policy when it comes to everything. And my point in bringing that up is that there is an ultimate end to the hands-off policy that does not end well for anybody. I'm going to share with you guys one of the news stories here. I'm just going to bring this in real quick.
Fox 12 told you that Walmart is pulling its last two stores out of Portland, and the move is now getting national attention. Yesterday, Governor Greg Abbott tweeted about it, saying in part, quote, "This is what happens when cities refuse to enforce the rule of law. It allows the mob to take over. Businesses can't operate in that environment and people can't live in it." Even though Walmart told Fox 12 last week there is no single reason for closing down the store, Fox 12's Connor McCarthy spoke with a business owner who says rampant crime sealed Walmart's fate.
And guys, listen, it's not only sealing Walmart's fate, it's sealing lots of other stores' fate. If you go downtown here in our area, most mom and pop stores, some of them that have been downtown for 20, 30, 40 years, they're gone. Major companies are pulling out of the Portland area. They're moving right across the river to Vancouver. They're going to some of these more suburban areas. We're in a situation where right now, where this is, hitting home for me, security, we get the bulk of our contracts through these large retailers like Walmart. They had a huge security contingency there. Walgreens, CVS, Starbucks, all of these large corporations, they offer employment opportunities for security guards that are doing what I do and what you guys do. That hands-off policy, specifically in areas like Portland and other really, really left-leaning liberal areas, it sounds good in theory, right? And if I can play devil's advocate, I would say the theory is we do not want our staff to get engaged with someone who is stealing something. It's just a product, right? And you'll hear that. It's just product. It doesn't matter. It's just food. They're just taking food. In Seattle, they actually passed a bill that said they could not prosecute anyone that was found to have shoplifted something that was a necessity. So if it was food, if it was clothing, if it was bedding, if it was a pillow, anything that could be deemed a necessity, if that person were detained, if the cops were called, they could not be arrested if they were only shoplifting something that could fall into the realm of needed material or necessity, right? And in an idealistic view, if you have this like utopian view of society, that kind of makes sense. It's like, listen, we've got all these products, we've got X amount of them. If someone takes 5, 10, 15, 20 of them, it's not going to close our store down, right? We're doing what's good for the community. The problem is that we don't have a homeless problem here in Portland. We have a drug addiction problem. So when people are stealing, whether they're stealing food or they're stealing anything else, the reason behind that, the motive, is not for survival. In terms of our homeless community's needs, they're all met. They get monthly EBT and SNAP assistance on a debit card. They have free access to health care and dental care. They can go to any of the shelters to sleep. They can go anywhere that they need to in terms of all of these nonprofits to get clothing. Everything from their daily needs and their basic needs are met. Even the needs of the paraphernalia that they have to use in order to get high, right? We have a free needle program. We have a needle exchange program. No questions asked. Bring in your old needles, get free needles. People that live here in Portland that have diabetes, people that are suffering from cancer, they don't get that kind of treatment, right? So the things that are being stolen from these retail establishments, it's stuff that they're able to quickly turn around and sell or trade for drugs, right? So the idea that if we just allow them to steal a small amount of, minuscule items, that's not going to lead to something bigger, it does. If you have this hands-off policy where you're not going to stop someone from stealing the essentials, the common drug addict is going to say, well, shit, I'm going to go ahead and take the Keurig, or I'm going to take, the pots and pans, or I'm going to steal the electronics. Okay, now I'm going to go in there and steal the furniture, right? And this continues to snowball and snowball and snowball. And on top of that, you end up with this apathetic workforce where people are just like, for me personally, I know a lot of people that work at one of the retail establishments where I'm posted. And after 3 to 6 months, they're done, because these people are making $12, $13, $14 an hour. Not bad money depending on where you live, but here in Portland, that's minimum wage, And if you work an 8-hour shift and you get, a coffee or a snack when you come to work, you get your lunch, you maybe get you something on the way out, you've already spent $60 in that day in that store. And every single day they have to watch people just come in and go out, come in and go out, come in and go out, stealing stuff. And this hands-off policy of not allowing the security guard or allowing the staff to do anything. And then ultimately, if the security guard or the staff does something, the police don't respond, or if they do respond, they don't arrest, or if they do arrest, the sheriff won't keep them. If the sheriff does keep them, the district attorney won't prosecute. It's this huge cycle. And then ultimately you end up with stores leaving. And then everybody, from the people that work at that store in every aspect of service, to the security guards like myself and other security guards, we lose opportunities for work. And the bigger issue is that when those stores leave, the need for the drug addicted to have access to things to steal in order to sell or trade for drugs, it doesn't go away. And what's the only thing that's left once these stores are gone? When Walmart's gone, when CVS is gone, when Rite Aid is gone, when all of these little stores in the area are gone, the mom and pop stores are gone, the only thing left are houses, right? The need for them to steal things, the need for them to take things, the need for them to flip that stuff into money or drugs, it doesn't go away. So now we've got this issue where we have a complete rampantness of homelessness, rampantness of drug addiction, and we've created a system where stealing and theft, completely normal, completely okay. There's no accountability for it. And I fear that what you're going to see next is the natural progression of this downward slide, where now you're going to see a huge uptick in home break-ins, which ultimately is going to lead to assaults, which is going to lead to murders, which is going to lead to God knows what. Guys, it's getting really bad here in Portland.